My name is Onyebuchi Maria, but you get to call me O Maria. Today, you are watching a video right here of my entrance into the monastery. This is not a film. This is not a rendition or a simulation. This is my real life. 2020 was the year, August. I'm walking towards the door of the cloister, which is the door that the nuns, cloistered nuns, meaning enclosed, dedicated to a life of prayer and fasting and sacrifice for your good. I'm about to be a bride of Christ. The beloved always wants to be with the beloved. I'm wearing my bridal gown, which, if I remained in the monastery, which, by the way, entering a monastery does not mean you will be there for life. It is akin to dating someone, or as I like to call it, being courted by a man. You go on a date. You're discerning if this person has sufficient virtue to be my husband, the father of my children, the grandchildren, the grandfather of my grandchildren. You get the point. After subsequent dates, aka after time passes, as you're both mutually discerning if I'm for you or you're for me, when it becomes clear that the divine, that our Creator, has other plans and wills differently, you depart. There's a high likelihood that there have been many more entrances than those who have remained and discerned for life. In my community, in my congregation, it takes approximately 10 years to make final vows, after which you then generally would stay for life. So here I am surrounded by loved ones, those who could make it to upstate New York, to watch me enter, to watch me dedicate my life to God. And what led me in here is really love, is zeal for souls. Because what do we do all day? Having lived the life and having loved it and called to serve God differently. So to briefly answer the question, but why did you leave? If it was so good, why did you leave? My friend, would you calm down? See about poor, first of all. But if you want to remain, curiosity kills all the cats. All the cats. Whew. So we need to temper our curiosity. I'm sharing what I discern and feel most free to share. So if there are questions that are asked that I do not feel like I wish to share, it's my prerogative. So this here is a gift. Anina gift. So we're gonna vamos a aceptarlo y escuchar solamente las palabras que yo. What you're watching, I'm hugging and embracing my beloved father, my mother, my... And so I got a blessing from my spiritual director, the chaplain as well of the monastery. What do we do all day? Well, for me, I can only speak for myself. I rise before 5 a.m. in the dark. I didn't see my body for 2 years. I didn't see a man's face for 2 years. The priest would offer Mass. Yes, he's a man, but my eyes are closed during Mass. For Holy Communion, when we go forward to receive the body, blood, soul, divinity of God, there is a veil I wear, one of the veils, but there's a flap that comes forward and covers my eyes. So that question was asked in previous months or references when I did bring up a few of the cool things of living in the cloister. So what did I do all day? I rose before 5 a.m., sometimes around 4. I'd stretch. I would get dressed in the dark. I love kickboxing, so kickboxing became a big thing in the monastery. And I would make my bed, go get dressed, get ready, wake up the sisters. They're in another video, a different edition. Gotta hold this. That's how you can tell my love for you is great, because I'm in the middle of travels and filming and production and set, and I decided to commit to what I said I would do, which was sharing what the life was like and sharing a little bit of a voiceover commentary to what you were watching. So I'd wake up, and for the sake of me really giving you the tea, I'm going to take my eyes off camera, because being neurospicy, it helps me use the other senses more profoundly and clearly if I'm not we are not doing this the whole time. I mean, I love you with the heart of God, but okay. So I'd wake up before 5. I would get dressed, go wake up the sisters. There's a routine and a ritual for that, using what's called clappers. They're wooden boards. And then I would go open the windows, set the books for prayer, turn on the fans, measure breakfast. One of my offices or duties was as the cook, and another time as well, additionally, as the provisor. So I would make the menus, get the ingredients, measure them. And if I'm the cook, take the ingredients and then prepare, cut, saute, bake, fillet, you get it. And so I would then go ring the bell for prayer. Then we would pray our opening prayers and morning prayer and meditate on the life of God, of Jesus Christ. And then I would read to the sisters a meditation for the opening meditation. And then I'm going to speed through this, so just don't be alarmed. Just absorb. So I would read the morning meditation. I am knocking on the door. There's a ritual of knocking thrice on the door of the cloister, and the sisters at some point come open it and let you in and welcome you with the hymn, O Gloriosa Virginum, O Glorious Virgin. It's beautiful. More on that, another edition of what this is called Therese Talks. I've been inspired to title it Therese Talks for many reasons. But anyway, I'll reveal later. So I read to the sisters, and then we have 1 hour of silent mental prayer, praying for you and for your needs. And then we would go into preparing for Mass, and then we would put on our mantle and our communion veil for Mass, an extra layer. It's nice, bright white, and a woolen mantle. And I wore a woolen habit when I received the Carmelite habit or clothing about a year in. More on that, and I'll likely show some images of that day. You can't see it fully because there's so much mystery and beauty and symbolism behind what a cloistered nun is like. And so I want you to rid yourself of what the world would see it as, and just wait for me to have the wording and the time to explain it to you, please. Okay? The human mind can just assume and label things, and it's offensive and it's hurtful. I'm unoffendable, but it's offensive and it's hurtful. You don't know the beauty and the history and the tradition behind cloistered nuns and religious. So respect the fact that there is a mystery and symbolism, and that you do not yet know what it means. In due time, I will share. So generally, I would get ready for Mass. After Mass, go out to get the blessing from Mother. We process out of the choir. And then from there, we would go and eat breakfast, and then we would wash the dishes, hand dry the dishes, go to our class, go to our assigned work. I would ring the bell. We'd go for midday prayer, examine our consciences in silence. Generally, we'd have another prayer. We pray at noon, called the Angelus. Then we process outward and we go for what's called dinner. But in monastic life, dinner is what you would call lunch. And then from there, we would go and we would eat. And I would read to the sisters on most times, as I served. One of my offices was as the reader. And I read to them. And then we wash dishes. And then I eat. And then we would wash dishes. And we would have our personal time, 30 minutes a day. For me, I often didn't have that 30 minutes in the entire 18-hour day of labor, 7 days a week, 365 a year. But we would have some personal time to open letters family writes you, because family visits maybe once a year for about 3 days. But you're not with them the entire day of the 3 days, because you have your schedule, as I'm sharing with you. It's beautiful. It's a life of a radical life, and a very rare call. God calls specific chosen souls, not everyone. It's very rare and beautiful. And I thank God for the time I spent discerning and trying and listening to God calling me to be his bride. And there is a grief, I must say, in departing from the monastery, whether you left there laughing and smiling, or gloomy or confused or unsure of your life after, which almost always is the way with the average person. So I share that so that you have a greater sensitivity to those who you might learn of who left seminary, a monastery, a convent being a community of sisters who are active, they're visible in their work. Monastery is for cloistered nuns or monks who you don't see, but their work is hidden, like that of the heart. The heartbeat keeps the body alive, but you don't see the heart. And that is what cloistered nuns and monks are. So after that personal time, generally, if you get it, you would then have your mid-afternoon prayer, you have class, you have your mental prayer again, you go back to your work, you have your evening prayer, before evening prayer, you have supper. We fast 7 months of the year from September 14th through Easter Sunday. And so when it's not those times, more on the fasting later. When it's not those times from Easter through September 13th, we would have supper. And when it's the penitential seasons of fasting for your well-being and your success and joy and hope and peace and clarity, as you can sense, I do try to do meditations for your peace on Instagram at Maria Media to continue that spirit of contemplation, and in my mystical garden, which you can enter into on Patreon, The Mystical Garden, for a deeper dive on things like this. From there, we would have, I believe I was just speaking of the schedule, then we would do our supper for a few of the months of the year, and then we have recreation together where 1 hour of the day we speak, the other 23 we're prayerfully silent and working in labor, in solitude for the salvation of every soul who ever has or ever will live. And it's a life, it is heaven on earth, if one can be lived on earth. Life as a nun is heaven, authentically lived. It's heaven. And I'm so grateful that I was called to love in such a radical way, in such a beautiful way. And I will forever be grateful. Forever be grateful. Being a nun sharpened my moral compass. Being a nun taught me how to forgive from deep within. Being a nun prepared me to be a wife and mother of a man who's after God's own heart. How to be a good grandmother too, yeah. Being a nun taught me how to work with anyone or live with anyone. Like, listen, living with women, and I can't share the exact number for the sake of maintaining the contemplative nature of the vocation, but living with several women who you didn't get raised with, you didn't grow up with, you're not the same ethnicity. I was the first woman of color in the entire 100-year history of that congregation in upstate New York. The Carmelites have been around since 500 BC from the prophet Elijah, who lived on Mount Carmel. From the 5th century, we had a beautiful man. More on that later, but the Carmelites have been around for centuries, for millennia. More on that later. So from the recreation of 1 hour a day together, face-to-face time of talking and laughing, and most sisters there were extroverts. Busted! You would never have thought that a cloistered nun who's 23 hours of prayerful silence, you would think she's a wallflower, but no, these flowers were blooming, blossoming lilies, daisies, tulips, hydrangeas, you call them, they are there and they are loving, they are joyful, they are happy, they are free. Oh, I found so much freedom and peace. And I'm always grateful for that. Nothing will change that. And then we have night prayer, which is about an hour and a half. And then we get a blessing from our mother prioress. And then we go to our cells in procession, chanting Psalm 51 in Latin. Our prayers, we chant it in Latin. It's a beautiful thing. Before this device goes off and I have to truly dip to my obligation, I hope that if God is calling you, that you say yes. And if you know, you know. And I hope that if there's someone you know who is discerning, that you encourage them, that you pray for them, that you cheer them on, that you leave them to discern with their own consciences. My hope is that if you are a parent whose child is in religious life or seminary or discerning or left, that the number one thing they would love and appreciate from you is your yes as well. It's not easy to say yes when God proposes to you, but it's also very easy. It's quite a dual-ended beauty. But if you are a loved one of someone who is discerning or entered, the last thing they want to hear is no, but why? But how? But you who will bury me? Who will be there? Ooh, they will do much more for you and your family and the generation and humanity from that monastery, from that convent, from that friary, from that place of service and missionary work than you can fathom in 1,000,000 years. I would sign that with my blood. because I saw the beauty and the excellence and the effect of my vocation the day before I even officially entered in 2020. And since leaving now I left in 2022, again, entered in 2020, left 2022 in peace. And now in 2026, I'm still adjusting, wearing clothes, having hair in my head, having a different name. When I left, it was hard. It wasn't leaving that was hard. It was events that took place after I had left within my personal life that in due time. No, I think I'm going to probably just take that one to the grave. But things that I learned and discovered after I left that broke me. And I forgive all involved. And so if God is calling you, you know what to say. And if God called you, I send you so much encouragement and light. And do please reach out to me somehow. Comment, reach out to me somehow. I'd love to get connected with those who have left religious life, even seminaries. We need to band together and make this world beautiful with the graces that we garnered while in there. Even if the experience was great, subpar, mediocre, or na collabo. I gotta go now. Thank you for being here this long. I send you my love, and I send you gratitude for being here with me on this journey. Until next time, may peace be